And we are back with another episode of the Bleed Lows podcast, coming at you live before Game 1 of the National League Division Series against the San Diego Padres. But before that, let's get the business side out of the way real quick. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. Think you know your stuff? Get in on our $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance to win weekly prizes and a share of that $200,000 pool. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack, poker, or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. Head on over to the website today and get in on the action. Bet online, the game starts here. And joining us on today's episode, we got Mike, who was on the live stream a couple nights ago. I got 2 Dodgers beat compadres here. Steve Webb, the editor, who's been on a roll right now, posting pretty much I would say 8 or 9 articles a day.
Ranking them out.
And Mike, cranking them out. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today before the game goes on. We're a little bit less than an hour away now. The Phillies, they just wrapped up their game today, and they ended up losing to the Mets 6-1 or 6-2, I believe. So Dodgers, they're trying to be the one home team right now in the National League to win a game. How you both doing today?
Well, the drinking hasn't started yet, so I guess we're in pretty good shape.
Yeah, Mike?
I'm feeling great. Ready
Yeah.
to go.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about with this game coming into today. And I'll even start off with you, Steve. So we talked about what we expected from the roster. You know, there's a lot of key injuries. I've been writing about it. You've been, writing about it. The big one today was Freddie Freeman, and Freddie Freeman is in the starting lineup. Freddie Freeman is on the roster. But besides Freeman and Miguel Rojas, looking at who made the roster, what was a surprising name that made it for you on this team?
I guess a little bit of a surprise is Enriquez, since he's only pitched 3 innings in the big leagues. So, but I wasn't that surprised. I mean, I don't. I saw a couple of people online say, "Why isn't Joe Kelly on there?" And I think we all know why Joe Kelly's
Bum
not.
shoulder out of nowhere.
Yeah. So we'll live without Joe Kelly somehow. It looked like it was pretty much what I expected, to be honest. I'm glad Freeman's on there. We'll see how far he can go. It's hard to say exactly what that ankle is going to be. He didn't sound super duper confident right before game time that he was even going to be penciled in today. So I don't know if that he was just playing a little possum or what, but it was up till 10 minutes before lineup cards, he was saying he wasn't sure if he was going to be in the lineup or not. But we'll see how Freeman does. I mean, I don't think they would put him out there if he was going to be a hindrance to the team. So I pretty much think that he'll probably be fine. Now, of course, he wasn't performing at a Freddie-like level prior to this injury. So we'll see if he can find his stroke again ASAP, because it has been over a week for him to last game he played was last Thursday, right? So that's a long layoff. So it's almost have to really crank it up again, the spring training again.
Yeah, I think the storyline for tonight, while, Otani's making his debut, the Dodgers starting rotation, Yamamoto being flipped with Jack Flaherty, I think all eyes are going to be on Freddie Freeman when he takes that first at bat, because I think hitting is going to be fine. It's going to be fielding and base running. And, all the Dodgers, David Vassegh talked about it really well, where he was like, there's more to just the game of baseball than just hitting. And unfortunately, the Dodgers don't have a DH spot that's open right now. So we'll get into more on Freddie Freeman in just a bit. But Mike, we talked about the roster. We were talking about the ideas that they were going to go with. There was some discussion that they maybe don't go with a 13-13 split. Maybe they add an extra position player. Maybe they add an extra pitcher. They went to the more traditional route, kind of along the lines of what I was thinking a couple days ago with 13-13. Similar question I asked Steve, is there any names that caught your eye when they announced the roster?
Same with Steve. Edgardo was the one that kind of caught my eye there, in him being put on the team. Is he going to be ready? You got a player that has only played, he started out the season, playing for Rancho, then moved up into Tulsa, and then went over to Oklahoma, and then went straight to the Dodgers team at the end of the OKC season. So I was a little bit surprised about that. Um, that's my only surprise, really. Just the other news that Dave Roberts had mentioned during his press briefing. Also, there's some surprises there for me also, in regards to Kershaw, the Joe Kelly injury. And I'm sure we're going to get into that.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised both you guys didn't say Michael Grove, because when I saw him
Well, that was what I was
on the
about
graphic,
to pile on was Michael Grove, who has
Michael
not
Grove was
pitched well.
surprising. Yeah,
Yeah.
Michael Grove was surprising. I'm actually surprised. Mike's been on this guy since he's been called up, and Ben Kasparius seems like, in my opinion, was the better decision to make the roster. If you wanted
If I
a
had to
guy
choose
to give you
between those
length,
two guys, yeah, I would choose Kasparius at this
yeah.
point.
I
Nothing against
was
Grove. I've just seen enough of the Grove experiment. Some people were even replaying Luis Arias walk-off today, some Padres fans. Michael Grove was pitching. I don't want those bad vibes today, but continue, Mike.
I'm not too surprised about the Michael Grove addition to it. I think this will be the only time that we'll see him for the playoffs. I think it's going to be Ben Kasparius going into the NLCS and going into the World Series if we make it that far. I don't think we're going to see Michael Grove again.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the role that they use him in. But other than that, the roster was pretty much straightforward. We knew who was going to be on there. I thought, winding down to the end of the season, Kevin Kiermaier had a little hot stretch, at the end of, August, early September, and he definitely cooled off. Injuring his middle finger, didn't help either. And with the Padres adding, I think 4 or 5 lefties they got one starter that's a lefty, and then they have multiple guys in the bullpen. Just didn't really make sense to have Kevin Kiermaier on the roster unless you really wanted defense, which I know Andy Pages is a little bit of a liability in center field, but the guy can hit. So I think we can all be in agreement. Pages deserved to make this roster. Dave Roberts already alluded to that a couple weeks back, right, Steve?
Yeah, yeah. Pages has heated up nicely in the last month or so, and and even the much maligned Chris Taylor, right, has kind of come alive in the last couple of weeks, and or even the last couple of months. Right now, he is his OPS on the last 15 days, which granted were only 5 games for him, was 1492. Of course, we don't expect him to be at an OPS of 1492 for this series, but he's swinging a pretty good bat right now. So I would certainly prefer Chris Taylor to a Kiermaier at this point because as you say, Chris Taylor is hitting from the right side, and Kiermaier is a lefty bat. So at best, he's a defensive replacement in the late innings, which might be nice to have later on if there is a later on.
Yeah, and Mike already touched on it. Let's get it out of the way before we start diving into this game with the lineups, the matchup, and everything in between. Got a lot of updates on injuries right before this one. Obviously, Clayton Kershaw, who was trying to come back due to his toe injury, just seemed like he wasn't progressing well at all when you're at his age, and it's just not working out. I don't think the Dodgers really need. Obviously, with the pitching rotation the way it is, they could benefit from him, but I think it's a wash. Just let him, rehab, come back next year.
They needed a good Kershaw, and there was no guarantee of that. So,
Yes.
Let's just cut our losses here and let things pass away.
Yeah, so Kershaw done for the season. It remains to be seen if he wants to play next year. He still said that he enjoys pitching. He has that I believe, player option where he can opt into, but market value says he can get a little bit more money than that option. So we'll see if he takes it or not. Especially, it'll be big if he gets surgery. I imagine he will opt into it just to have a guaranteed spot on the roster. Other than that, Brusdar Graterol still, trying to come back. Joe Kelly was the injury that we talked about today. Shoulder injury. That's the reason why he's not on this roster. Dave Roberts said he probably wouldn't be back until the World Series at the earliest. I'm just going to take that shoulder inflammation, something that he's battled, probably going to say he's done for the rest of the season as well. Couple minor injuries. Freddie Freeman's the big one that we've been watching. Healthy enough to be on the roster, healthy enough to be in the starting lineup. Any injuries that caught your eye, Mike, that could impact the Dodgers down the line?
The only injury that I'm really looking at and kind of a little bit concerned about is the Freddie Freeman one. I'm not surprised about the others. Honestly, I didn't think that Kershaw would be back for this series or for the rest of the year. Not too surprised about Joe Kelly. The question that I have is, what is Dave Roberts? How short of a leash does Dave Roberts put on Freddie Freeman? If he's going to start hindering the game, if he's not going to be able to have that side-to-side movement, when he's playing first base, how's his ankle going to feel when he's rounding second base, rounding first base? How's it going to feel when he goes to first base? Since that is his right ankle and that's his dominant foot that he touches the first base bag with. Is he going to be able to do that? My biggest thing is going backwards, going side to side in the field, being able to get balls, like he normally does, and having that Gold Glove that he has, And like I said, what's the leash that Dave Roberts is going to put on him?
Yeah, I agree with that. Freeman's going to be someone that I keep an eye on. It's unfortunate with Kershaw not coming back this season, but like Steve said, we need a healthy Kershaw, and that's a big if. Steve, any thoughts on the injuries news that we've heard today?
Well, I'm going to be keeping an eye on Miguel Rojas. We'll see what role he's going to play. Now, is he in the starting lineup tonight?
He is. He's batting ninth. Yep.
He's batting ninth. Okay, so we'll see how it goes. I know he's just basically going to power through. He says it's not going to get better before the end of the year. So here we go, and hopefully a diminished Rojas will be enough of a Rojas. I mean, he's had a great season. He doesn't need to apologize to anybody. So we'll see if he can make it. I mean, the nice thing is you have a Tommy Edman you can slot in there at shortstop if Rojas can't make it work. So we'll see. My fingers are crossed. They seem pretty positive, but you have to take positive injury reports from the Dodgers with a certain amount of skepticism. But they seem like they're feeling pretty good about where he is. So hopefully we'll see a good Rojas as well.
Alrighty, so let's just get in right to it. Game 1 of the NLDS is about to get underway in less than an hour. Taking the ball for the Dodgers would be right-handed rookie Yoshinobu Yamamoto. He's 7-2 on the year with a 3 ERA. Obviously, we all know he missed a couple months with a strained rotator cuff. Has looked pretty good since coming back, as he's been kind of using the major leagues as a rehab assignment, getting better and better as the days go on. Mike, I'll kind of go with you on this because you're my go-to guy, like I've said before, with Yamamoto. What are we expecting tonight? Because we mentioned the sim game. He should be built up to around 90 pitches or more. But this is the postseason. You've said it all along that he's a big game pitcher. I've seen the promo footage of him saying he wants the ball in these types of moments. He wants to feel the energy of the crowd. What are you expecting from Yamamoto today against a Padres team that has hit him well? He's only made 2 starts. They were at the beginning of the season. We all remember the Seoul, Korea start. I think most of us Dodger fans can say that's a wash because it was kind of in the middle of March, right when spring training ended. But in April, when he saw these same Padres, he only went 5 innings and gave up 3 runs. So all in all, he's an ERA at 12 against them. What does he have to do? What are you expecting today?
What I'm expecting from Yamamoto is to come out and dominate the game like he did in the Olympics, like he did in the Baseball World Classic, and the times that he pitched in Japan. Watched him pitch in Japan, quite a bit online. Very impressive. He does step his game up, in big, high leverage games. He's like a totally different pitcher. He comes out with conviction. And he's really focused when he goes into those games. The things that I'm going to be looking for him is his first pitch strikes, where they're at, his fastball, the placement of his fastball, the movement on his fastball like he normally has. Is it moving? Is it Is it just going straight down the pike? Is he hitting those corners? Those are the main things I'm going to be looking for because I don't think the Padres are going to be chasing a lot of his pitches, a lot of his off speed stuff. I think they're going to be sitting on his fastball, so that's going to be key for him is the placement of that fastball and where it's at. And I think he's going to come in. I'm not going to be surprised if he's clocked out at 97, 98 miles an hour at some point in this game. And I think he's going to go 7 innings.
Bold take for the 7 innings. I agree with everything else. Steve, before I get to you, you look at the Padres offense. I know we've broke it down a lot, especially leading into this game. They don't strike out at all. They were dead last in the league in terms of, amount of strikeouts per game, amount of strikeouts for the whole year. They are a contact-driven team that has power, and that's kind of proved the difference in the postseason, the way we've seen these games. Low scoring, key hits, not relying on home runs. That's this Padres offense. What do you think Yamamoto is going to do tonight to kind of right the ship, so we can forget about those two starts at the beginning of the season?
Well, I think that, like as Mike was saying, I think command is going to be key. It's sort of self-evident that Yamamoto is not going to just be slinging it and let it land wherever it's going to go. If he can paint corners like we've seen him do, like in that Yankees game when he was amazing, that's I think he's gonna take that sort of effort in order to quiet this Padre lineup, because this Padre lineup is playing well. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. There have been few teams that have had a bigger head of steam than the Padres that coming into the playoffs, and it's he really needs to establish his command of the strike zone quickly. And I think if he gets into a lot of 3-1 counts, if he gets into more than a walk or two over the outing, I think doesn't bode well for the Dodgers. And I think Yamamoto has it in him. I don't know if he's going to be able to dial it up. We're not seeing peak Yamamoto at the moment. The last couple of starts have been good, but not fantastic. So he's I think given up 3 or 4 runs since he came back, but he had those 2 scoreless outings, and then what did he do after that?
Yeah, I agree. Yamamoto, the lights are going to be on him. We, as Mike alluded to, he's been in a lot of big games, whether it's in Japan or in the tournaments that came over to the U.S. We'll see what happens with that. Opposing him on the Padres side is Dylan Cease, who had a respectable year in his first year with the Friars, 14-11, 3.47 ERA. He threw that no-hitter against the Washington Nationals in, I believe, late July 20th, something along those lines. But in the postseason, he's actually been pretty bad in 2 appearances, including 1 start in the ALDS. He has a 10.13 ERA and 2.2 innings pitched. He'll be sent out there to kind of go against the 3-headed gauntlet in the top of the lineup, where Dodgers are throwing out Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez, Max Muncy, Will Smith, Gavin Lux, Tommy Edman, and Miguel Rojas batting 9th, as we've already mentioned. Mike, when you see that stat line, we've seen Cease. The Dodgers saw Cease about 2 weeks ago. They ended up coming out with the win, scoring 3 runs off of him. Are you expecting a similar performance today with the Dodgers offense? You're muted, Mike.
Sorry about that. I'm expecting a little bit of a similar performance from the team. One thing that I think that the Dodger hitters have got to do for Cease is they need to put a lot of pressure on him early. In the first 2 or 3 innings, the Dodgers need to start hitting balls off of him, going foul balls, getting his pitch count way up, and putting a lot of pressure on him. That's one thing that I think is going to take Cease out of the game. I think that Teoscar Hernandez is, he hasn't had like a really good performance against Dylan Cease. I think he's like 1 for 11 against him. I think he's going to have a big game tonight. I think he's going to be the one that's a person to watch. But we need to get his pitch count up early. Need the Padres to go into the bullpen early and the Dodgers don't chase his stuff. Don't chase that breaking ball. Don't chase that that curveball that he has. Be patient at the plate. Go up there with quality at bats. And don't try and hit the home run ball off of him all the time. Like I said on the last podcast, and like you know me, Corey, I'm all about the small ball and putting the ball in play into the gaps through the holes in the infield. Getting runners on base and moving them. If the Dodgers hitters can do that, I think they're going to be very successful against Dylan Cease.
Yeah, Steve, when you hear all of that with the way the offense needs to perform that Mike is alluding to, who's one guy in this lineup that you are watching? Like, who needs to be the X factor tonight? Who needs to step up? We obviously know Ohtani. He's been red hot. Teoscar Hernandez. There's a bunch of names to pick from. But who are you looking at to make a difference?
Well, I'm telling you who needs to make a difference, and that's Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts has been ice cold the last couple of postseasons, and sometimes he kind of shrugs it off. That's baseball. Sometimes you're hot, sometimes you're not. Hopefully, he'll come in with a little more fire in the belly. He's not had other than 2020. Where he was great in the postseason, and that's why, guess what? The Dodgers won the World Series. It's not a very tricky equation. If you get a good Mookie Betts, you're going to win a lot of ball games, and it's just been very frustrating the last couple of years to see him kind of shaking his head and walking back to the dugout, with nothing to show for it. So. I'm not predicting that he's going to do great, but I think he needs to do great in order for the Dodgers to win this series. He needs to get a lot of key hits.
All right, Mike, I'll lay it up to you as we get ready to close out this pregame episode. X factor for tonight. Who is the guy that needs to step up, and who's going to help the Dodgers win this one? Muted again. 2. You're the new Juan.
I'm the new Juan. Sorry about that. Usually I don't mute my mic, but my dog's barking in the background. I got 2 X factors for tonight. I got Max Muncy and Teoscar Hernandez. I think that Max Muncy is going to have a big game tonight, and I'm thinking that Teoscar is going to have a big game also.
Nice, Steve. Dodgers win this game game 1 today because.
The Dodgers win because Yamamoto shoves. That's the key. They're not gonna. I don't think with the Padres pitching, it's not going to be an 8-6 ball game. It's going to be a 4-2 kind of affair. And in order for us to win this ball game, we need to get a great start out of Yamamoto. If we get 6 out of him, I say start popping the champagne corks, and then you can give it to our big dogs at the end of the lineup. We can give it to starting with whoever you want to pitch the 7th, probably Trinan in the 8th, and then Kopech in the 9th. If you can get 6 out of Yamamoto, the Dodgers will win the game.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think, with everything we've been saying, the X factors, I 100% agree with Steve. Mookie Betts has to step up. I think every Dodger fan is in agreeing on that. Everybody has been very critical of our dear beloved Mookie Betts on social media, and it's for good reason. Dodger fans are frustrated. He does need to show up in these big games. Last postseason, not even to get a single hit. Him and Freddie Freeman to go for that ever famous 1-for-21 stretch. Can't happen this year. Guy I'm watching tonight, and I already called my shot during the live, and I kind of alluded to it in my Game 1 pregame article. That's Shohei Ohtani. I think this guy, it's a cliche answer to say because of how good he's been, but this is his postseason debut. First game, it seems like he is ready, but he's hit Dylan Cease pretty well. He is 4 for 15 with 2 home runs, including that mammoth home run that he hit when he was on the Angels on Sunday Night Baseball that I linked to that article. Probably the loudest pop off the bat, I think, that's on video for Ohtani and just anybody that's hitting a home run. But your stars are going to have to show up. Otani has a chance to make it a 1-0 ball game if Yamamoto gives a scoreless inning, because that's the other key component that we've all kind of been in agreement on, is that the starting pitching has to be well, and it starts with Yamamoto. I would go as far to say that these first two games are absolute must wins. They need to take both of these games at home, because I do not want to go to Petco Park with the series split at 1 game apiece. It's not a fun place to play. We saw what happened in 2022. They kind of got that one game that they won in game 1, and then they kind of fell off after that. I think the Dodgers need to keep the gas pedal going. They need to put the pressure on the Padres. They cannot let the Padres score first. The Dodgers crowd needs to be into it, but it's hard to be into it when you're playing from behind. And we saw that last year. I don't think what happened last year in game 1 of the NLDS is happening again. We're not going to have someone give up 5-6 runs in the top of the first where there's pretty much nothing to, cheer for from inning start to finish. I think it'll be a tightly contested game. Steve Webb's already written an article about how postseason runs are going to be at a premium this year, and we've seen it time and time again. Before the Mets and the Phillies kind of blew up offensively, it was a 1-0 game for most of that tonight's game. So I'm expecting much of the same here. But we'll go to the last segment before we close it out. What's your prediction tonight, Steve? What is the final line?
I say, always putting my homer hat on, and I say the Dodgers win 5-3. Yamamoto goes 6 innings and gives up 2 runs.
Mike, I'm going to go to you. Who's winning this game? What's the score, and why?
Well, I'm the bold prediction guy. I'm going Yamamoto pitches 7 innings, has 10 strikeouts. Teoscar Hernandez goes yard, and the Dodgers win 7-2.
Wow, 7-2.
Bold. He is the bold guy.
He
On the live,
bold
Steve,
man.
he
He
said
man.
the Dodgers could sweep, and then we looked at him a little funny. But
I believe in that. I
So,
believe in that.
So we'll see. Well, God, from your lips to God's ears, baby.
I'll say we'll go 3 for 3. I think game 1 is crucial in any series. The winner of game
Must
1
win,
is set up for the rest of the series. You're not playing down. It goes, if you can win with Yamamoto, a depleted Yamamoto, because we don't know what we're going to get. He's still recovering from the injury. If he can go 6 innings, that's awesome. 6 innings, 2 runs is what I imagine his final line will be. I think the Dodgers pick it up maybe with a 4-2 or a 5-2 game. I'm hoping the offense comes out early. I think that's the key. If they're playing from behind, it's going to be a loss. So, but I've already called my shot. I think Otani in his first at bat, and I'm going to get bombarded on social media because I saw how many people bookmarked my tweet of the Otani video today. I think it was at like 150. He's going to go yard his first at bat. That's what I'm expecting today. Any disagreements on that? I feel like he's due for a home run today.
Why not? Yeah, it was a pretty quiet series in Colorado for him. So
I'm not going to be surprised if his first at bat he goes yard.
Yeah. I think he just sees Cease well. If it's a fastball, Cease, the thing is with him, and the thing with the Dodgers, what they have to do with this entire series, especially today's game, is they need to do what they've done best, and that is work the starters deep into counts, eye up the pitches, get them out by the 5th or 6th inning, and get to that Padres bullpen, which has been declared by some other players around the league as the best bullpen. But Steve, the past couple weeks, they haven't been the best bullpen in baseball. They have not, right?
No. Yeah, if you look at some of the big guys that they got on the deadline, Tanner Scott has doubled his ERA since he came to San Diego. I mean, his ERA was ridiculous in Miami, but he it's now like 2.72, and it was like 1.12 before he showed up. We saw Suarez. Suarez has been a basket case, basically. I mean, he pitched a couple of good innings in against Atlanta, but Suarez has been a mess. And if not for that triple play, he would have blown up that first game of the Dodgers series earlier this month, last month actually. So I just don't see. I'm not scared of the Padres bullpen. I'll tell you that. I'll lay down a marker right now. Bring them on. I think the Dodgers bullpen is every bit as good as the Padres bullpen.
Yeah. But before we close it out, Steve, I'll let you even continue. We got a lot of stuff going on the website. Why don't you let our listeners know what we got coming?
Well, I've just recently put up interviews from today from both Jack Flaherty, who's starting tomorrow, and from Will Smith, who is catching Yamamoto tonight. So you can look at their pregame comments. I have a little article up about Kershaw. There's a link also to his interview where he's very disappointed and rightly so, in not being able to join the team for the rest of the season. And then I have some rah-rah stuff up there to get us hyped up for how we're going to beat these Padres. Maybe not sweep them, but beat them.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff on the website coming out. Post game, game reports. We got pregame stuff going on. A lot of Dodger interviews. And then once you're done reading all of that, why don't you come to the YouTube channel, subscribe, turn the notifications on. Roger, behind the scenes, is working extremely hard. There's so many videos on my subscription feed right now from the Bleed Los and all the other Dodgers channels with all these interviews. He's also we're posting all the Padres interviews as well, just so we can see how cocky that they are coming into this series. So hopefully I'm not going to eat my words on this. But yeah, I'm excited for this game. I'm always excited for this time of the year. This is kind of what we look forward to. The regular season's the regular season. We expect the Dodgers to be good and be in this position year in and year out. But after back-to-back years where they lost in the first round, I would say we're all pretty much hungry for at least a postseason series win.
Let's go with that. NLCS bust.
Yeah, so we will actually be back for the post game around 10, 15, 20 minutes. We'll have that posted up on our social media. I believe all three of us will be coming back for that one. If not, I don't know who's coming in. We'll see what happens, but there will be a post game.
Hopefully not eating our words.
Yeah, hopefully it's positive. I know last year in the post games, it was very depressing because we lost all three games. But yeah, let's go. We'll be there for the post game. Hopefully, talking about a Dodgers win. Anything you guys want to talk?
Positivity, Dodger fans. We gotta bring the energy. That's we can't let San Diego outclass us.
Yeah. Any closing words, Mike, before we get out?
Yeah, Dodger fans, you got a team that has been hurt all season long with the most injuries that they've ever had, and that have got them this far with the best record in baseball. Show them some support, show them some love, because this is a fighting team, a team that wants to win. In my opinion, it's a completely different team than we've seen the last 2 to 3 years, and I think we're going to go far.
Awesome. Well, that will do it for this episode of the Bleed Los podcast. Be sure to check us out on the post game of after tonight's game. And this episode was brought to you by Bet Online. The game starts here. Have a good one, guys.
All right, turn on your TV, everybody.